All right. That's good stuff. Well, they're ours. Our team. I don't take ownership of anybody, but it's cool they're on our team. That's good stuff. All right, man. Um, it's funny listening to Chadwick and Melanie on the activity call, especially when they talk about Chris Gardner, because I definitely was there, and it's exactly what Melanie said. She said it walking towards the Chipotle where we had lunch, and then all of a sudden Chris Gardner drives by in his green Bentley. It was like you couldn't ask for like the end, uh, a better end to a meeting with Chris Gardner. It was sort of the exclamation point to the whole thing. And as you guys know, on my longer video, um, I do talk about the Chris Gardner experience, and it was just man, that was pretty cool. Very, very cool. So I have my stuff on or my web thing going on here. Um, so I kind of had some ideas of what I want to talk about today, and it was a little bit free form. I did the Cincinnati hotspot, the training at the hotspot yesterday, and it was interesting because I talked to them about the stuff that we were talking about on our conference call. You know, sometimes that stuff will definitely spill over on our conference call into the Thursday meeting. So sometimes they get the kind of the brunt of our conversation yesterday, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that call. It was like there's a lot of good stuff that came out of that call, but I think uh, what the people were talking about last night in Cincinnati was kind of how to keep their head together, um, or how to overcome the fear of doing the ATM and or the fear of going into the home and doing the ATM. And we were giving them tips and stuff, but I kind of looked at the whole idea of commitment. I kind of prefaced my talk with commitment and um, and like the evidence of your belief. We talked about this on this call a few weeks ago. The evidence of your belief is your calendar. So you know, what does your calendar suggest about you and where your head's at? And I always believe this, that you do what you think about the most. You do what you think about the most. So when you look at your calendar, it's usually an evidence of what's in your head that you're thinking about the most. Also, it's a reflection on the opposite side is what you fear the most. The evidence of your calendar is also a reflection of what you fear the most. So we all are operating at different things that cause us to do anything. We um, we operate out of fear of something happening. That like what Melanie was saying today, the haters. You know that you hate something so much that you do something to get away from the thing that you hate. And then there's the other aspect of your calendar when you look at what you're doing, that you want something so bad you're willing to do anything and everything to get it. All right. So depending on where that is in our lives, I'm going to mute temporarily. Actually, I'm unmuting. If you guys can mute your lines, if you got background noise, that'd be great, because I want this to be kind of an open discussion as well. But when you look kind of at the spectrum of motivation, when Andy's talking about the haters and lovers, it's just his colloquialism. I always want to use that word. When Melly used this, like, dadgummit, she used a word on a conference call that I hadn't used yet. Anyway, when you look at the world of motivation and NLP and all these other things, Anthony Robbins talks about this. There's the go towards motivation, and then there's the going away from. It's going away. Okay, and this is the spectrum that people's motivations exist. So this is what Andy calls the lovers and the haters. Okay, so you end up hating something so much that you want to get away from it, and then you want something so bad that you're willing to do anything for it. So this is really what happens when you start accomplishing whatever that motivation is. And I'll give you an example. Like, for example, if you want to lose weight, let's say you want to lose X number. So you hate being overweight. You just hate being overweight. So you're not fitting in your clothes. You know, you're getting into your fat wardrobe. Okay, because I have a fat wardrobe, and then I have a medium wardrobe. Then I have a skinny wardrobe. The kind of my objective in life, that, you know, wearing clothes that I had in high school, which is kind of weird, huh? Why would you ever want to get back into clothes you were wearing in high school? But when you were like skinnier, you know, it's sort of the objective. I don't know if you guys have closets where you have these type of clothes, right? So I have my fat suits, my medium suits, and so let's say, you know, I need to lose 30 pounds. So I hate being fat, so I just got to get, you know, so I get disciplined enough to, you know, I start losing weight, and my objective is to get here where I'm minus 30 pounds. Okay, and I'm working. Okay, so I get to my 30-pound goal, and it's like, man, I got to my goal because I hated not being able to fit in my clothes. So now I fit in my clothes and everything's rocking, everything's cool. The only problem with that is what happens. You know, now that you're at that weight, you know, okay, I'll speak for myself. I drive by Dairy Queen, and it's like, yeah, you know what? You know, I feel my belt, and it's, okay, it's pretty loose. You know, I think I deserve a chocolate dip cone. So I go get a medium chocolate dip cone. I just love soft serve ice cream. Now, if you guys know me, you know that I love soft serve ice cream. Just something about all those fat molecules in that white creamy ice cream stuff. I mean, it's not like, I know it's probably really bad for you, but man, I just love every drop. It's just anyway. So, you know, I put it in my body, thinking it's not going to have any effect, and then, you know, I drive by Dairy Queen again. It's, you know what, I think that peanut butter parfait is like one of my favorites. So I think I have one of them in a waffle cone. You know, because you could put peanut parfait in a waffle cone, in a waffle bowl. I know. I love peanut butter parfaits and waffle bowls. So I go by. Well, what happens? I start gaining weight again. I start going this way. And I start going this way. You know, all of a sudden I back up. And this is what we call the yo-yo thing, right? You do the yo-yo dieting. You never ultimately get here because your objective was to not be fat and to be skinny, and it's only going to get you so far in the motivation scale. You're only going to, but this journey just kind of goes back and forth. And it's frustrating, as you guys know, and I know for myself. It's like, you know. So the problem with going away from something is that once you get there, then the propensity to go backwards is always there. You never, it's difficult to maintain the hate. In other words, you hate, and then all of a sudden you stop hating. And then, but when you get to the stop hating part where it becomes comfortable again, it's easy to slip back into where you were before, right? And this can, you know, be similar to other things that you're doing in your life that, you know, you're getting away from something that you hate, but then it just, you can't sustain the motivation to maintain where you are here, okay? So what's the trick in trying to continue on the spectrum of motivation? Like, well, you know, in this business is a great example. When you look at your calendar over the last year, 6 months, you've been with us any time, and you thumb through your activity book, and you see weeks where you're just killing it, and then weeks that you're not. And you're thinking about, well, what happened when I was not killing it, you know? And you can come up with all kinds of distractions, you know, a ton of distractions that caused you not, you know, and a lot of it's related to how you feel. It's like, well, I don't feel it. You know, you operate on emotion, our typically what happens is our emotions will guide our actions. So when you operate on emotions and which guide your actions, then you're always subject to how you feel today, which is really difficult to operate in that mode because when you operate in how you feel, well, then you're subject to your emotions and you let your emotions dictate your life. And that's a hard way to live, letting your emotions dictate your life, because then you always got to monitor how you feel about stuff. And so here, when you're going away from something you hate, it only stops there to where you think your goal is right there. So, Alex, Dr. Alex, how do you how do you continue on and maintain your weight? Well, what you do is your objective. You change your objective. Instead of hating being fat, why don't you figure out the emotional reasons? Instead of hating being fat, why don't you turn it to loving to be healthy, living a healthy lifestyle? Okay, now notice the difference. The difference is I hate being fat, I hate not fitting in my clothes. Okay, versus I want to lead a healthy life. It's different. I want to live a healthy lifestyle. So notice how that's different. A lifestyle is different than losing weight. Losing weight is not a lifestyle, right? I mean, you can't be in a lifestyle of losing weight, because then it's a constant. It's not a habit that you're maintaining. It's just something you're doing so you can get to this objective of fitting in your clothes, your regular clothes. Okay, which could be a goal, but it's not a sustainable goal, because you have to replace the goal, the hate goal, with something that you're trying to achieve that creates a lifestyle change, a lifestyle habit change that is a beneficial habit that you will change for the rest of your life, and it becomes part of you. Remember, lifestyle is what you do every day without thinking about it. Okay? Your lifestyle is what you do every day without thinking about it. It's the habits you've incorporated in your life in how you live your life. Okay? It's something that is, a lifestyle is easier to maintain than a major change in habit that you're trying to get away from something. So if the objective is maintaining health, and what I like to do about lifestyle changes is, why do you want to have this lifestyle? What will this lifestyle obtain for you? What meaning will you find in your life by obtaining that particular lifestyle, right? Like, for example, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, what will that mean for you? What will that mean for Alex? Well, it will mean that, since we all have free will, a lot of our decisions will determine how long we live. Certainly the Lord has his plans for when he wants to take us away, but he also gives us the power of free will. Now, it can be a blessing or a curse. That's a loving creator, isn't it? It's like the answer to why God lets bad things happen to good people is because we are all human beings with free will. And it's the ultimate act of a loving creator to give us free will to do whatever we want to do, which is sometimes a problem, because doing whatever we want to do is not a good thing. Okay? So, why do I want to be healthy? Well, I want to live longer than shorter. I don't want to do anything to develop a health situation where I end my life sooner. I mean, you guys know, you write life insurance. You know why smokers pay more than non-smokers? You know why they pay double? Because their mortality risks are higher. They're going to die sooner, quicker. Okay, the mortality rates are higher for smokers. I mean, duh. You know what I mean? I want to live longer. I don't want to do anything to shorten my life. So maintaining a healthy lifestyle allows me to live longer. Well, why do I want to live longer? Well, I want to live longer because I want to see my grandchildren. I want to see my children have children. I want to be an influence on my grandchildren. I want to live my life long enough that I can see the joy of parenthood on my children's eyes. I want to see my daughters. Okay, now it's okay that if they do it later in their life, okay. I want to live long enough so they do it later in their life than sooner. So I'm not advocating my 19-year-old daughter going out having kids right now. But I want to see her down the road. I want to see the joy in her face when she's holding her own babies, which is my grandchildren. I want her to experience the love, really, which is experience the love of God. Because, I don't know if you guys remember when you had your first child. My first child, the thought that went through my head is, number one, I realized how much my parents loved me. Because I never understood how much my parents loved me until I had my own children. And then what I did was I thought, oh my gosh, now that I'm a father and how much unconditional love on this child, how much does my Heavenly Father love me? I mean, that was a whole revelation, I promise you. The revelation of my life was having my first child, realizing how much my parents loved me, and then ultimately realizing how much my Heavenly Father loves me, right? That was huge. So I want to see that look in my daughter and my son's eyes when they have their first child, because I want them to know how much I love them. And sometimes they don't know how much you love them until they have their own children. Do you see how that works? And then maybe in their life they'll understand the power of God's love, because now they can relate to it as a parent. I want to be there for that moment. I want to see that in my son's Athens' eyes, my daughter Zoe's eyes, Maddie, Nick, and Isabel. I want to see that. I want to be around for that. And so anything I do to prevent that is not a good thing. And it's emotional. I want it to be emotional because it's something that I want to go for. It's something I want to achieve. That's the lifestyle I want to achieve. And so when you have this that you're going towards, it becomes easier to try to create a lifestyle that goes from here there. You see how that works? You bypass getting into your comfortable clothes, and it causes you to want to maintain a healthy lifestyle, which in essence gets you your goal of fitting in your clothes and feeling comfortable. It goes beyond just that. So when you go here, you stay there. You focus on that. It's what you want to do. That doesn't mean that you can't go backwards when you get distracted or when things get in the way and whatever. But knowing that this is your objective and your goal, and you keep this in front of you, it's easier to go back there. So you fluctuate here as opposed to fluctuating here. You see how it works? Right? So I would rather fluctuate here than here. Here is hell. Here is purgatory. Here is like not fun. Here is where the source of frustration lies in your life, because you're not finding the meaning enough to change your lifestyle to operate in this part of your life. Does that make sense? This is a source of frustration, fear, anger, emotion. Not that you won't experience that here, but at least here you have an anchor to hold on to. You have an objective you're going for, which motivates you to change your lifestyle to achieve this objective. Now, that's not to say it's going to be hard. This is not easy, but it's worth it. Okay? So you got to concentrate on the worth it part. The worth it part is what makes it work. And you have to believe it emotionally and intellectually. Let me tell you this. It's got to be on an intellectual basis, because if you operate on the emotion of how you feel, then you're not creating a lifestyle. It's the objective mentally that you know that you have to do it or else that will keep you grounded here, where you're not operating on emotion, you're operating on I have to do this whether I feel like doing it or not. Okay, so let me tell you where this is right here. Okay, what part in your life operates over here? Let me tell you, being a parent operates over here, right? Because your lifestyle as a parent is a locked-in lifestyle, because once you have a child, you're their parent forever. Okay, you're their parent forever. And you always operate on here because your lifestyle is one of being a parent. It's something God put in us to want to protect our children, want the best for our kids, want our kids to have more than we did. It's inherent within us. It's like an automatic lifestyle. Now, some are better than others, but when your child cries, what do you need to do? right? You don't ignore your baby. You don't feed. It's not like you don't feed your baby because your baby will die. You tend to the needs of your children from Jump Street. It's a maternal instinct that automatically is within you, right? And God put it in us to perpetuate the species. He put it in us so that we can reproduce and go forth and multiply. All those kind of automatic urges in us are put there for a reason. All right, so it's a little bit easier to operate in that manner. But think about it on an intellectual basis. When your child cries, do you just consciously not want to do something for your child? Do you ever, like your child's sick, do you ever like saying, they'll make it through the night. I don't feel like going and taking care of their cough. No, you automatically go to the room and you try to care for them. You stay up with them if they're throwing up. You do, like the ultimate act is when your kid throws up and the mother cups her hands. To me, that rocks. I mean, that shows you, that automatic reaction of cupping your hands on your kid's mouth, especially if you're in a car. There's things that you do that you don't even think about because it's what it is. It's your commitment to your children. But isn't that really automatically inherent within you being over here? You're going towards the idea, the lifestyle of caring for your child, wanting the best for your children, protecting them. You would die for your children. Your commitment to them is over here. So it's an easy decision. It's not even a decision. You don't consciously think, should I take care of my child or not? Do I want my child do I want the best for them or not? That's not a decision. See how easy it is to be a parent in a way? It's easy because it's not a decision. It's your life. It's who you are. It's your lifestyle as a parent. Once you're a parent, you're a parent. That's your role, and that's what you got to do. And in fact, you'll divorce your spouse quicker than you divorce your kids, right? And now working out with your spouse. See how less of a commitment it is to your spouse than it is your children. Well, Alex, I'm committed to my spouse forever. Really? Maybe you are, but statistically, 50% of the people are not out there. But you don't really divorce your children, do you? Your 2-month-old, you don't divorce your 2-month-old just because she cries all the time or she's colicky, right? And she keeps you up and you just want to kill somebody because you're so tired. You ladies remember how that is, where you're so tired and exhausted, but your baby still cries again. You have to go, take care of her. So understand, that's a commitment. You live your life that way. There's no question about it. Now, imagine this. What am I getting at here? It's like this business can operate here, or it could operate here, or it could operate here. So where's the business for you? What is this business giving you that you want to change your life to have a lifestyle of this business? Well, Alex, can you really make this business a lifestyle? Man, absolutely, gang. You look at my calendar and I'm talking to new people all the time. I'm recruiting all the time. I'm getting on the phone, booking appointments and selling. I think I closed last night a $90 or $65.13 deal last night at Final Expense. I've incorporated that into my schedule. Okay, I try to make daily mass when I can get up. I mean, this last few days my schedule's been screwed up. But I really go to daily mass every morning at church. I do a daily rosary. I pray, meditate. That's my lifestyle because my spiritual life is a lifestyle. I've incorporated my prayer life and my Bible reading and my Sunday praise and worship that I do, that I play guitar for, a praise band. I operate over here with that. My spiritual life's over here too, right? Because I think everything that I do on a spiritual level impacts what I ultimately want. What am I going towards on a spiritual level? Man, I want to get to heaven. I want to be in the presence of God. I want to see Him. I want to be in His loving care. I want to rest in His bosom. I want Him to wipe tears from my eyes of not being with Him. Because that's really the cry in our heart, is always not being with our Lord, not being with God. That's the yearning inside you, is usually that part where it's not being fulfilled because you're not with your Creator. Our Creator made us to be with Him. The reason why we're living a life of frustration is because we're not with Him. And so my deal is I got to live my life in such a way that I can be with him forever, because our lives are just a little tiny drop in the ocean of eternity. So why wouldn't I want to do that? So I've created a lifestyle that maintain my life so that I sin less and do good things more, and do things that are fruitful for other people and to bring other people towards that end, right? So that's how I'm not good at it. Okay, I do the best I can do, but I can be better, right? But I have this longing to do that, so it's part of my life. Being a parent is part of my life. I do those things. The business can operate here as well. What is the business providing you? Well, for me, I'm at a different level right now. For me, it's providing a purpose to impact other people, to bring other people to where I'm at. It gives me a reason to teach you stuff like this. Because if I can teach you stuff like this, then maybe I can enhance your life to live a better life, where then you're impacting your children in a positive way, because your children learn from you. So, yeah, I'm selfish. I don't want to really impact you as much as I want to impact your children. Yeah, call me selfish. But if I can impact you, I can impact your kids, and your kids will impact their children. See how that works? It's like this kind of thing that just perpetuates. So I can get your mind right about this, then you can get your mind right about how to teach your kids this habit. Did you guys read that thing I sent out on habits? Anybody? Did anybody read that about the habits of successful people and how we're teaching our kids failure habits? How impactful was that? Yeah, man. It really makes you realize, oh my gosh, everything I'm doing, I'm ingraining in my children. And you know how that is when you say something and you stop and you go, oh my gosh, I just sounded like my dad. Oh my gosh, I just sounded like my mom. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because it was imprinted in you when you were a kid. The same kind of things you're doing for your kids. So let me ask you, is your mental ping pong and emotional ping pong and lack of commitment to something giving your kids the same reason to have the lack of commitment in their lives for what they want? Alex, you're laying on me such a big responsibility. Well, dadgummit, absolutely, because you're operating here as a parent. So why don't you take full responsibility for your children's failures too, gang? Now, I know there's only certain things you can take responsibility for. Why don't you take full responsibility and maybe you act different in your life? Why don't you start being committed to something so you can teach your kids how to be committed to something in their lives? If your kids act like you, with lack of commitment and something you want, where do you think they get that from? Golly, man. Jeez. Understand what you're doing here. This is a business, but it's more than that. If you just kind of treat it like some other thing you're just going to try, well, you know what? That's going to be another thing. Now, maybe this is not for you, but at least you do everything you can to make it work because you want to teach your kids that you don't quit. I don't know. It's just that kind of drives me crazy sometimes. I'm talking to me, okay? So like, don't think that I'm not guilty. I'm guilty as charged. So I'm thinking, how can I you know, show my kids that I care? It's my example. Okay, so purpose. Let's get back to what I originally said, because I'm sorry I went off on a tangent and got a little self-righteous there. Trust me, I'm not trying to be self-righteous because Alex is talking to Alex. Maybe you get to hear this conversation that Alex is having with himself, okay? You get the benefit of it, or maybe you get cursed by it. I don't know which one. But purpose, man, the purpose. What are you in this business for? This has to be emotional. As important as health is to live longer to see your grandkids, what is yours? The purpose of my being in this business is to impact children of my agents. It's to impact my family, to give my family a lifestyle that they deserve. Okay, it's to give my children an example of what it is to win and to be around to get up when I fail. I want to show them it's okay to fail, but as long as you get up one more time, then you fall down. I want to show them it takes courage and perseverance to continue on with something, even though you don't think it's working. but you stay around long enough to see the thing working, to just hammer it and hammer it and hammer. I want to teach my kids persistence because I think it's a gift I can give them. Because I think persistence, regardless of talent, will get them further in their lives than almost anything else. I want to give them that example. I want to see you guys win. I want to see you guys win. I want to see you win. Just like a father wants to see his child win. For every single one of you on this call, the fact you're on this call, I want to see all of you win. Right? I want to see you guys have purpose and meaning in your life. I want you to get up in the morning and realize, it's not about the money. It's about the impact that I'm going to have on other people. It's about giving my family something that will last with them forever, not the money. The money doesn't last forever. What lasts is your impact on them, and the example you're giving them, man, golly. Are you starting to get that this living over here is more than just the money? The money part happens over here, okay? The money part of get out of debt happens here. The money part are paid bills. I want to get to where I'm paying my bills every month instead of putting some of it on credit cards. That operates here. That's the going away part. The purpose, the objective of being debt-free, owing no man anything but your love, debt-free, so you can contribute and give to your church, all that operates over here. But the hate part operates over here. So you can get here temporarily, booking appointments so you can get here. But ultimately, what I want to see you do is transition from here to here. Because I need to motivate you. Once you get here, I need to motivate you. You need to motivate yourself to move beyond just getting out of debt or beyond just the living a subsistence lifestyle, just paying your bills, I think. And get to where your purpose becomes something bigger and better and bolder and something that you're willing to change your lifestyle to being in this business to help you get this. It's like there's not like, people say, well, I actually work a lot. No, I don't. I don't consider this work. I love this. I love teaching you. I love being in this business because of what it's getting me here. I was on the phone interviewing someone last night. It's like, am I working? No. Because it's part of my lifestyle. My lifestyle is to impact other people. My lifestyle is to be an example. My lifestyle is to impact your children. See? So it's my lifestyle. But it doesn't mean I spend less time with my kids. I don't look at it as an either-or proposition. I'm giving my kids an example, but I'm also spending time with my children. I'm spending time with my spouse. I'm spending time with them in church. I'm doing that part as well because that's part of my lifestyle too. See, I think sometimes agents get crazy because they think it's an either-or proposition. I'm either a good husband or I'm a good father. Which is it? I'm both. I'm a good husband and father. I'm a good husband and father and provider. I'm a good husband, father, and son of God, child of the King. I'm a good husband, father, child of the King, business owner, provider of inspiration, whatever. I'm all of those things all wrapped up in me. This is how I live my life. Remember the lifestyle thing? My lifestyle are all those things. I live my life to that lifestyle. See how lifestyle, it changes your perspective on everything that you're doing. Showing the plan is part of my lifestyle because I want to build my business, because I want to impact more people. See how that works? Because I want these things is why I do what I do. It's why I invest in my business. It's why I go out and serve clients. Not because I have to. I serve clients because I become sharper for you. I become a better resource for you. Okay? I become a little bit better so I can counsel you on what to do better than when I was not selling. Okay? Some people are good at counseling and doing that when they're not selling, haven't sold for years. I don't know. I think I tend to be a little bit better. I'm out there in the field talking to clients. It reminds me of why I got in this business. It reminds me of why we need to take care of families. It reminds me of what you guys are doing so I can understand you better. It wasn't like I sold 10 years ago and then I forgot. what it was like out there, and I forgot the frustrations of being no-showed. I know what that feels like just last week. Okay. So when you get no-showed and I get no-showed, I could say, I know how it feels, but this is how we can be better at getting our show rates higher. I'm speaking to me. A lot of times when I teach because I need to hear it more than you do, right? This is all this stuff, so have I been pontificating long enough here? Um, does this make sense, gang? Do you guys understand this? Anybody? Um, I know one of my detriments, I guess, is getting too preachy. That Andy always says people rather see a sermon than to listen to one, and so that's what I'm trying to do. Everything I do is try to do this. So maybe I'm trying to make an example so that you guys can follow it. Um, but again, I hope this makes sense. Why you tend to go in and out of your motivation, because you haven't really defined this enough to be something you want to go for and continue to pursue. And I don't know that this is something that you ever, like if you put an objective here that you ever really achieve, but it's your desire to get there is what causes you to act the way you do. Um, that's why some people, when you're accountable to something bigger than yourself, sometimes you operate on that accountability. It's kind of like, some people that say, well, I'm saved already. So if I go steal some candy from the store, or if I treat someone bad, I'm still saved. I believe Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and I'm going to heaven. Seriously? How many people operate there? Don't raise your hand. That's okay to, tell white lies, and it's okay to, because you already think you're already there. So I don't know, man. I like to always try to achieve this objective as if I'm being accountable, as if God is making me accountable to Him. He sees everything. That part about it is He sees everything I do. I can't hide anything from what He sees. So behind closed doors, or when I'm not on camera, I'm not on a conference call, I need to be authentic, that when I'm sitting at my desk, that I'm doing what I'm saying I'm doing, because you guys aren't watching me, God's watching me. And He will bless me because I'm doing what He wants me to do for Him. So when you think about accountability from that perspective, then things are different. Things change for you because you know that you're accountable, and that everything you're doing is being watched and frankly being judged by the one who ultimately judges you and judges me. So anybody get that? That's another great way to operate, in my opinion, because I want to please Him. I'm a kid of a king, so what kid doesn't want to please their parents? I've always been really kind of that way anyway, being firstborn. But anyway, okay, I'm just rambling, I know. Anyone got any questions about anything? Could be recruiting, building, whatever. Anybody? Okay, so let me wrap up with this. What is the evidence of you creating a lifestyle of being in this business? So let's bring it back to being in this business. This business involves you getting into a habit of continuing to become better in what you do, becoming a better agent, a better builder, a better leader, a more effective income generator for you and your family. And so it starts here with why you're doing it. Okay, so you got to figure out the why part. Okay, then you got to figure out when you want what it is you want. If there's objective in mind, when you want that income or when you want that, and then what is the sacrifice that you need to give up in order to get it. So those are the three main things. Why you're doing this, when you want it, and what you're willing to sacrifice to get it. Okay, so when you define those, or as you're defining those, the things that you have to do, okay, the have to part, 18 player steps, the book that Andy has, you got to do all 8 of those things. that is something practical that will keep you on track. You stray from the 18-player steps, and then you'll go off track quickly. Like, I don't know how some people not are able to make it by not going to a hotspot meeting if it's close. Even if it's far away, can you go to a hotspot meeting once a month or twice a month? I challenge you to do that, but how can you not have your own policy? How can you not have your own policy on you and your family? How can that not happen? Those things, you got to do this. This is minimum wage stuff you got to do. You have to do that part, right? And then number two, the work part of 18-player steps is you got to do the one thing we do is we sell, we recruit, and we build. That's the one thing we do, sell, recruit, and build. Well, Alice, I just want to sell. God bless you. Then sell, but sell the best you can do there. You don't have to build. I suggest you build because you can create a better lifestyle, and you can create accountability on impacting other people. You can get to that meaning part in your life quicker rather than just selling. But it's okay if you want to sell, but I think you got to at least do selling, but if not selling, or you could just build. Okay, I'm satisfied with that too. If you just want to build too, whatever. But you got to do the work part. You got to do this part. Duplicate, associate, and edify. The light of day. You have to duplicate the system. You have to associate and get around people that are better than you. And then you got to edify your upline. You got to edify your downline. You got to edify the system. You got to edify Andy Albright. You got to be an edifying personality, giving credibility to things because you talk good about things, right? So it's a lot of day. Duplicate, associate, educate. You got to know why we exist. PIE. Prosperity, inspiration, and eternity. I could do a whole hour on that alone, but you got to know why we exist. And then you got to operate under the 8 core values. Okay, that's on our game plan book. You got to operate on our 8 core values. You got to believe our 8 core values, and you got to live those 8 core values. Okay, and they pretty much are probably the value system you work under anyway. But you got to understand that's who we are as a company. These are the things that define us as representatives of the alliance. Okay. These things will help you become a better business owner, a better producer, better at everything, a better leader. These are the things that you have to do. They're not a lot. Okay, if you master these things, dadgum, man, you're on your way to fulfilling your purpose. Okay, but the reason why you do these things will be motivated because you're going towards the ideal of what you want your life to be, right? So, 18-player steps. We sell, recruit, we build. Duplicate, associate, edify. Prosperity, inspiration, eternity. The 8 core values. Right? That's all. That's all you got to do. Anyway, gang. And to talk to me all the time. That's part of the association. Just counsel up one with me. I could help you. I could try to help you. I don't know that I can help you with everything, but I'll attempt to try to help you with everything. And if I can help you, I'll get you in touch with people that can help you. Ultimately, Andy Albright or, Tim Goad or whomever you need, because I'm not arrogant enough to think that I can help you with everything. Just know that I want to help you with everything, but I probably won't be able to. But I'll try to help you find whoever can help you. All right. So that's sort of my operating credo. All right, gang. I hope you got something from this. Appreciate y'all for plugging in. I don't want to take your time that you invest in this business lightly. I want to give you everything that I got and try to give you more, which is why I need to read more so I can give you more. But anyway, gang, God bless you, man. I'm praying for you. Let's make it an awesome week. The month of June is rocking. I think we're on week 4. Right? Is it week 4 coming up, or is it it's week 3? Week 4, I believe. So, man, let's get out there. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone even if you don't feel like picking up the phone. Remember, let's operate here, not by our emotions, because our emotions will mess us up if we always operate on emotion. But anyway. All right, gang. God bless you. Take care. See ya.